Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry and Plurk, and over here, co-host Molly. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, 2013. I'm recording a day late, and this is episode 27, Drama Llamas. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. So, my Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. You know who you are, even if society doesn't. And mine was good. We woke up and went to the gym because we do that every Sunday. And the kids go swimming and I go work out. Steve watches the kids swim. Well, he swims with them, but we did that. And then we went out for lunch at my favorite place, which is It's Just Crepes. And I got a Mediterranean crepe for the lunch part. And then I got it's called a Paradise Crepe, and it's basically an Almond Joy wrapped up in crepe. So that was really good. And then we came home and I hung out with my kids for a little while, and then I went to my knit group. And then my sister called me while I was at knitting. And this is where the title comes from. It seems... Well, it is, not it seems. It is a fact that my mom's boyfriend dumped her on Mother's Day. I hadn't called her yet because my plan was to come home from knitting and record a Happy Mother's Day video for the grandmas and send it out to the grandmas, which we did. And then I called my mom. But I hadn't called her, so I didn't know. So I was like, awesome. And here's where I'm going to be a drama llama. So it really sucks that my mom got dumped, especially because her 50th birthday is on Saturday. So yeah, the timing could not be worse for her. The timing is also really bad for me. Horrible daughter moment. As soon as my sister told me that, I was like, awesome. That totally ruins my plans for my Michigan trip. If you are returning, you will know that I've been planning on going to Michigan for a while now, and I'm really excited. And my plan was to hang out with my best friend the entire time that I was there. I was going up there on Thursday, staying the night at my sister's place, and dropping my kids off at my mom's place on Friday, and she was going to watch them for the entire weekend so that I could hang out with my friend for the entire weekend. I have not hung out with friends sans children since before Mara was born. I'm going to say since the March before Mara was born, when we moved down here. So I haven't had a weekend with my friends in 3 years. I was really, really looking forward to it. And instead of that, I get to look forward to going up to Michigan to help my mom move. That's fine. I don't mind helping my mom move. She needs the help. I have an SUV. She doesn't have a lot to move. She has like 3 big pieces. She doesn't want to rent a truck because that's really expensive to move 3 pieces. So whatever, I'll be helping her move, and hopefully I'll still get to hang out with my friends a little. I'm feeling very selfish and let down because my birthday trip isn't going to be what I wanted it to be. I'm trying to remember that my mom is the one who just got dumped on Mother's Day, which is a hard day for her anyway. I'm the oldest of 3 living children, but when I was probably 4 or 5, my mom had an ectopic pregnancy sometime in the spring. I don't remember exactly when because I was like 4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5. I definitely wasn't 6 yet because my parents got divorced when I was 6, and they were definitely together when my mom had the ectopic pregnancy. So it was in the springtime. Mother's Day is really, really hard for my mom anyway. Like it's very mixed for her because she's happy to have the 3 children that she has, but you know, my youngest brother or sister weighs on her heavily on Mother's Day. So sorry. So I'm trying not to be selfish and remember that it's just making a bad day even worse for her. And I can't believe that I'm getting emotional over this. Like, I also know what it's like to lose a baby, not like my mom. I wasn't that far along, but I miscarried before I had my kid, so sorry. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of bummed about that, but I'll still get to see my mom. I'll still probably get to hang out with my friends. It just won't be what I expected. So yesterday I was really worn out because I get really emotionally involved in things that happen to my family. So my mom and I were on the phone for an hour on Mother's Day, like talking through things, making plans. She was really upset. And this came after my dad got dumped last week as well, early in the week, possibly on Sunday, possibly before I recorded. I can't remember for sure, but he got dumped, and I hadn't talked to him, but he called me on Mother's Day to wish me a happy Mother's Day, and that's when I talked to him for the first time. So Sunday was very emotionally draining, and yesterday the kids wouldn't go down for their nap, so I didn't start recording, and then finally they both fell asleep around 3:30, so I was like, I'm going to take a nap instead. So I did until about 7, and then I still went to bed at my normal bedtime. So that's why the podcast is late, and I'm sorry to ramble on a lot. This is a really long intro. Okay, let's get into things. The first thing, the Mom's Day Craft Along officially ended yesterday, but I just closed the thread right now, right before recording. And not including myself, there were 17 projects for moms. So I'm going to go to a random number generator on my computer. And the first 2 posts were mine. So 3 through 19. And number 8. Who is number 8? And what did you make? Alita Casey. She made a Chihuahua for her mom. It's the same color as her dog. So it's really cute. If you haven't looked through the finished objects in the Mom's Day Craft Along thread, go do it. Just take a quick glance. It's only 17. Well, it's 19 with my 2 projects in there. Or just click on the tag BPHMOM because I have more projects tagged with that than are listed in the thread. But go check out the projects, and Alita Casey, when you see this, let me know if you would like the pair of hand knit socks with the yarn or a $20 gift certificate to a independent crafter, or up to $20 in patterns / ebooks on Ravelry. Yay! I actually know the winner. She's in my Nerd Wars team, so that's really exciting. It's really exciting when anybody wins on my podcast, but it's more exciting when I know the person. So yay! Reminder that the next knit along will be a 1 skein knit along starting June 1st and going through July 30th? 31st? How many days are in July? I think it's 31. I don't know. I could figure it out, but I'm not going to. You'll know. Last day of July. So I will actually be opening up a thread for Chatter for that after the podcast, after I finish recording while it's processing. And I have another idea for a knit along. And I don't know if anyone else is going to join it, but I'm going to do it. It is based off of the temperature scarf pattern, which I didn't write down who designed that, but it'll be in the show notes, and it will be in the thread that I'm going to open. And it will start immediately. You can start like right now. Like as you're watching this, if you want to go click over there and like start making plans, totally. Okay, so the idea behind the temperature scarf is that you designate a color for specific temperature ranges. You can go in whatever increments you want for this, for my purposes, and you make a scarf out of it. Well, I don't really need a scarf. I have an idea for a scarf that I'm going to make later on that I'm going to wear this winter, so I don't need a scarf. But I would really, really like a pair of thigh highs. I am not going to sit down and knit myself a pair of thigh highs because I'm just not that great at making things for myself. But I can use this temperature scarf idea to get a pair of thigh highs done. My sister's blue thigh highs, I actually counted how many rounds were in that, minus heel and toes, and they were 338 rounds on size 2. I'm going to use size 1 and do 365 rounds minus heel and toe. So let me show you my plan. I'm going to use gray for the heel and toe, and if I decide that they need to be taller, I'm going from toe up. If I decide they need to be taller, I'll do a gray cuff too. The light gray that I used for my sister's thigh highs, I actually have some over here in this bag. It'll be this color. Those will be the heel, toe, and cuff if I decide I need to do a cuff. And I'll probably throw a pattern of some sort into it, even though I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so pattern first and then I'll show you the colors. My idea is to do toe up. That way I can try it on, figure out the increases as I go, because there's not really a vanilla thigh-high pattern out there. So I'm probably going to do a slight ribbing pattern too, just a little something. I don't want to, maybe I'll do a cable or something. Something that has a 7-round repeat if I'm going to do a pattern, because I'm going to take the high temperature from every day, and that is going to determine what color the round is going to be for that day. I'm going to be working them 2 at a time. And I think that's all that I have to say about the pattern. Yeah. So let me show you my colors. Let me dump them out so I can pull them out. I'm keeping them right now in this Brave bag. I think my kids got it while trick-or-treating last year. Like someone was just handing them out. So it's good for now. Holds all of the yarn. I am designating my colors by increments of 10 from 29 degrees Fahrenheit below. I'm doing mine in Fahrenheit because that'll be, not that it would be difficult to transfer to Celsius, but I don't really understand Celsius because it's not what I'm used to. Obviously, I get the concept of Celsius, but I can't be like, well, this is going to be a good cutoff for my area, and this is a good increment. But I know that 10-degree increments in Fahrenheit will work just fine. So, 29 degrees and below. Indigo, this leftover from my sister's thigh high. It looks icy and cold to me. So that's that. And then this is going to be 30 to 39 because I just find that weather bracket to be pretty miserable. Like, it's not really cold enough for real snow, and it's not really warm enough to be comfortable. It's just icky, and I'm not a fan of this color brown. I like brown in general, but this is a really yellow brown. If you've watched the podcast, you will know that yellow and orange are not my colors at all. It's because I have this yellow skin. See, look at how icky that looks. Then for, sorry, distracted, 40 to 49, I will be using this. It's Premier Serenity Sock, colorway Chili. It's really springy. That's when stuff starts growing at about that temperature. And then 50 to 59 is going to be Surf. Good colors, good temperatures. 60 to 69. My ideal temperature, if I had to pick a single temperature, would be 65. And I really, really like this yarn. This is Lion Brand Sock Ease in the colorway Taffy. And then 70 to 79, I'm going to be using this. I have more than this hanging around. I made 2 pairs of socks out of it, so I have like 3 small balls left over because I gave one to a friend. So this will be the 70 to 79. It's starting to get a little bit too hot for me. Less good colors. And then this is going to be 80 to 89, even less awesome. I mean, I really like the blue and the pink, but I think that's really a good designator of hot. And then the orange is just a little bit of not awesomeness. And then 90 and above is going to be bam, in your face orange. So that is what my socks are going to look like, or, you know, something like that. If you want to join me, you do not have to use crazy yarns. Yours don't have to stripe. You can use all solid colors. That's totally cool with me. I just have a lot of stripey scraps and variegated scraps. So that's what I went with because that's what I had, and I don't mind if my thigh highs are crazy looking. And you can start your project whenever. I'm going to start mine on my birthday. I'll probably do the toe before my birthday so I can actually start on my birthday. But yeah, I'll be starting that on my birthday. And for the knit along, I'm going to finish it the day before my birthday next year. So it's going to run May 28th, 2013 to May 27th, 2014. And there will be prizes, which I'm probably not even going to think about until January next year. To be eligible for a prize, you would have to do something in the same manner. There's a sky scarf pattern that's similar, so instead of doing temperatures, you can look up at the sky and mimic the colors in the sky. Or if you want to say that cloudy is designated by purple and sunny is designated by blue and rain is designated by green, you can do it that way too. Just when you, in the chatter thread somewhere, post what your plan is, what you want to make. I would like you to do a calendar month. So at least 28 stripes to count as a finished object. I know that a year is a long time to commit to something, so I'm totally okay with you only committing to 28 days, and you would just post it in the finished objects thread when you were done. And then after my birthday next year, there will be prizes depending on how many people want to do it. If nobody wants to do it, that's totally okay too. But I'm doing it, and I want to open it up to other people who might be interested. If you have questions, there will be a chatter thread, so post them there. So if other people have questions, they can read if you asked the same one. On to actual knitting to show you. I have some finished things. First one is the one that I'm most excited about. Yay! Still have to weave in the end, but it's done. Here's my mom's shawl, which looks so awful on me, but will look gorgeous on her. This is the Lazy Katie by Bridget Frere, and I used about half of a skein of Ice Yarns Angora Premium in Rose Pink. Used US 8 5.0 millimeter needles, and I think it turned out really nice. There's the lace on the edge, which I just messed up. It was all pinned out and flat and nice, but there you go. I actually think I made a mistake. and one of the setup rows on the lace because my lace doesn't quite look like everybody else's lace, but I still think it looks good, so I'm not worried about it. And I showed my mom a picture of it. I am giving it to her when I see her because it would be silly at this point for me to post something to her. It would just be a waste of a few dollars when I could just hand it to her in person. And I think it's better to hand people things in person when you can. I really, really enjoy how it turned out. Did not like working on it at all. Don't like the pink. The yarn is really sticky, which for some things that's nice because when I had to tink back some lace, all the things didn't fall off when a stitch fell off my needle. So that was nice, but trying to pull it from the ball was not so nice. Also, this is the first time that I've done a crocheted bind off. This edge right here is crocheted bind off, and I kind of enjoyed it. I'm pretty proficient at crochet, so that wasn't difficult for me. The pattern writer has a tutorial on how to do the crochet bind off, so that was really nice too. The pattern was a little bit difficult to, not difficult, you had to interpret a little bit. It's originally written in German, I believe, and I think the designer just expects you to know some things, which is fine. I just didn't necessarily know it. But there's also a thread, a chatter thread in her design group that's dedicated to this pattern. So it's really easy to search for information that you need. Overall, I like the project, even though I didn't like making the project so much. The second finished object is a Blizzard headband. See the detail? Kind of. This is the Blizzard headband by Jenna Meyer, and it doesn't have a button yet, but it'll fit something like that. I made this for a friend of mine who I'll be seeing in Michigan, which is when we'll be figuring out what button's going to go on it. My hair's just going to be crazy now, but whatever. Blizzard headband, Jenna Meyer. Why is that difficult for me? I don't know. Used US 9 5.5 millimeter needles and Bernat roving in the colorway Flint, and there's still a lot of this skein left over. So I don't know if the person who I made it for is going to want it, or if I will just use it for something else. I don't know yet. The last thing that I finished was a little Cthulhu. I made this for Haley of the Knit Two Together podcast. She is going to be one of my roommates at the Zombie Knitpocalypse, and unlike a lot of people, I had not intended to make presents for the roommates. I had intended to make something for all of my friends who are going to be there, but not like a special, separate, you're my roommate thing. But I was talking about my Etsy shop and how I have the Cthulhu in there. She saw it and she was like, oh my goodness, the little pink ones are so cute. So I made her a little pink one. That is using Caron 1 pound in the color pink, I think. I don't know. It is a pink. It's a light baby pink. And I use USD 3.75 millimeter hook. It's a crochet pattern. It's a hodgepodge pattern of other things that I liked what other people did. And I am really excited to say that now that those 3 projects are done, I am done with pink. I don't have anything pink on the needles. I don't have anything coming up on the needles that's pink. I'm done with pink for a really long time. I'm so excited about that. Ridiculously so. Unnecessarily excited, if you will. On the go right now, I have the cuffs done on the Lakeside socks. These are designed by Julia Viconson. These are going to be knee-high socks, and this is one of those cuffs where you knit so many rounds and then you purl and then you knit again and then you knit two together to make this tubey thing. This is only the second time that I've done that. The first time was on the leafy socks that I made for Steve, the Nutkin socks that I made for Steve. And I had to pull out my knit two togethers this morning twice on one side of one sock. I just couldn't get it to work right. It calls for a provisional cast on, which I did not do, so maybe that would have made it easier. When I did it on the Nutkin socks, I just did a knitted cast on and it was fine. But for these ones, I cast them on late at night when I shouldn't have been doing it. And I used a long tail cast on, and that just made it a little bit more difficult to figure out where exactly I should be picking up to knit the two stitches together. These are knit on US 2.75 millimeter needles using Premier Serenity sock in the colorway Navy. I made quite a bit of progress on my socks on a plane. I forgot to put in markers last week on where I was, but I think I was, oh, I remember. Okay, I was right down here because this blue had just come up on the needles and I hadn't seen it yet. So this orange stripe is actually where the pattern starts on each sock. So that's where they match up. I did the heel turn last night. I changed the pattern. Instead of doing it, it looks like a Flegel heel. It is a Flegel heel in the pattern. I am instead doing a heel flap gusset sock. So I'll be doing the flap as soon as I work on these. I think I'm going to work on these today. I think that's going to be my evening project because I need to free up some needles. I'm doing 2 test knits for Jen of 716 Knit, and I don't have any needles free right now. So I'm going to be working these really fast because now they're up to the heel. I just have to do the heel flap, and then I have to do the leg. I haven't decided how long I want to do the leg, but it works up really fast when I actually work on it. I didn't pick up these socks until Sunday. So I didn't work on these at all until Sunday, and I got this done Sunday and yesterday while working on other things. And I didn't work on them at all today. I worked on them last night in the VKN and left them here at my computer. So, hoping to get these done in the next week so that I can cast on a new pair of socks. My last pair of socks to show you on the needles this week. I worked on Haley's socks, the Gandalf socks by Claire Ellen. I didn't tell you any of the information on Socks on the Plane. They're the Socks on the Plane pattern by Laura Linneman, working on US size 1, 2.25 millimeters, using Red Heart, Heart and Soul in the colorway Green Envy onto Gandalf. Last time I hadn't made it through the cuff. So, and actually, a couple days ago, I think Sunday, I was knitting on them and I finished the cuff and I tried it on and it was huge. The pattern calls for the large size to cast on 80 stitches, and I was going to make the large size because the other two the Legolas socks that I made ran small, and this is kind of similar-ish to that. So I was like, well, I'll cast on the large size. Cast on 80 stitches. It was huge. Pulled out, cast on the small size, which was 72 stitches. Made the cuff. It was still huge. So this is actually the third cuff that's been on these socks. It is 64 stitches. And then to be able to work the small pattern repeat, I just increased. I did a final round on the cuff that increased it to 72. So can you see the pattern developing at all? I think you can a little. Cables. I am a third of the way through the chart. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a single chart repeat yet because I don't know exactly how tall that will be. Before I start the heel, I'm making these for Haley, again, of the Knit Two Together podcast, and she supplied me the yarn, which is Highland Handmade's Sugar Maple Sock in the colorway Fly You Fools. I don't have the label because Mara dumped out this project bag, and I couldn't find the label. I suspect it's somewhere in my nest. I have a chair that's a nest. I think everybody here knows what I mean when I say that. Also, I am using the stitch markers from Penguin Soup, the ones that she sent me. Oh, that one's backwards. It doesn't help you to see it when it's backwards. So I'm using those, and then on the other side I'm using, other ones because I wanted 8 for the setup round, and I have just left them in there because whatever. I am also kind of hoping to have these done off the needles this week because, as I said, I'm testing 2 patterns for Jen, and I want to get those on the needles as soon as possible. These are US size 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and the pattern is Gandalf by Claire Ellen from the Fellowship of the Sock book. I'm not going to send those out to Haley when I finish them because I'm going to see her in just over a month at the Zombie Knitpocalypse. So she'll get it when I see her. The last work in progress that I have is spinning. This is the All Spun Up fiber, the Superwash 100% Superwash Merino, and I am almost done with the first turtle. It's getting to the point where it's slowing down in the spinning a little bit. So I'm thinking probably maybe finish this layer and get another one on, and then I'll be taking this turtle off because it will be too heavy to spin the weight, the fineness that I want. Here's the braid. Oh, it's so pretty. Going into a big purpley section for spinning, so that's really exciting. I love how this is spinning up. It's spinning up really fine. I would like to make socks out of it, so I would like a fingering to sport weight. I'm definitely not in any danger of making a lace weight. I'm gonna 3-ply it, and I just didn't want to spin it quite that fine. But I'm hoping it's not heavier than the sport weight. We will see. I've never spun for plying. I've never spun thin for plying. This is I was doing that brown fiber. This, actually, I have a little piece, this domino fiber. I was doing that really thin, but I don't really have a lot of experience going really thin. On to what else is on my list. Oh, my sock yarn blanket. I did a lot of work on this week. I'm really excited that I did a lot of work on this. So let's find the start. I did this square, and this square, and this big square, and these 2 little squares so that I could do the big square. And these 2 squares. And this square, and this square. That's a lot of squares. Were you counting? I wasn't counting, but I realized that that's a lot of squares. I'm really excited about the amount of work I did because I have now used up all of the yarn. Not used up, I still have some, but I've used all of the yarn that I have personally knit or that I have gotten from anybody except Haley. So now I get to crack open these 2 bags to start making squares out of them. I could have broken into the bags before I used the yarn from other people, Becca and Lisa mostly, but I didn't. I wanted to use up those before I broke into the bags. So now I can break into the bags. So next week, when you see this blanket, you'll be seeing some of those yarns. For the next couple weeks, you'll probably only be seeing Haley yarns added to the blanket. I didn't tell you who gave me what yarn for the squares. I'm going to do that because that makes me happy. So, I knit these socks. The square is from Becca. I knit this square and this pink square, and this square is from Becca. This square is from Becca, and I knit this square. I knit these socks. And this square is from Becca too. So it's really exciting that I have friend squares in my blanket. It just makes the whole thing even more fantastic. I got some new things this week. You ready? As an early birthday present, Becca sent me 2 ChiaoGoo needles, size 1 and size 2, circulars, and you may have noticed them in my projects because I got them and moved them over to my needles. Now you might think that this would mean that I would have needles for the test knit. Not necessarily true. I have a size 2, which, unless I'm knitting for, well, I probably won't use them. I don't know if the needle size is specified in one of the patterns. That might be an option. But the size 1 that I freed up, I loaned immediately out to a friend because she just learned how to knit socks. She's making her 3rd pair, but she's made them all worsted weight. She has fingering weight, but she hasn't used it yet. So I was like, here, have some size 1s, knit yourself some socks. So she's going to try it. She's also been doing them on double points, not circulars, so it's going to be a learning experience for her. Enjoy Casper in the background. And Becca ordered the needles from the Sassy Sheep. Can you read that? I don't know. I don't know if you can. It's www.thesassysheep.com. Put that in the show notes, of course. And I really, really like them. I haven't knit with the ChiaoGoo or the Hiya enough to have a preference. I like them both, but I can tell you that both are way better than the needles that I did have. The reason I gave the size 1 to the friend and didn't feel bad about giving her needles that were not as good is because she actually prefers bamboo. They're the Clover Bamboo Circular. So she prefers bamboo, so I was like, oh, here, try these, so you don't have to go buy needles in case you don't like knitting socks. So that's where that needle is. That's why I don't have any to do the test knit. That's why I need to get to work on those. I did some reading this week. I read a little over half of Every Quilt Tells a Story by Helen Kelly. I got this from the section right next to where I got the books from Yarn Harlot, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, and it's the same sort of thing, little short essays. This book is still entertaining. I don't know if a non-sewer would like it, but I like it. The difference between this and, say, Stephanie Pearl McPhee is reading the Yarn Harlot books is more like listening to my mom tell a story, and reading Every Quilt Tells a Story is more like listening to my grandma tell a story. Nothing wrong with that. It's just generational styles of telling stories. So I really like it. I'll be finishing that up this week, I'm sure. And I barely got into The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan, recommended to me by Josh, Sort of a Knitter. He has a podcast and he's a designer. He recommended it and I'm really liking it so far, even though it follows a 12-year-old boy, which is less interesting for me than, you know, a 20-something girl. Still good. It has Greek mythology in it, which is fantastic. When I was young, I was obsessed with mythology. My sister and I both were. We had tons of mythology books, not just Greek, Roman, Norse, Asian, Native American, all sorts of mythology books, which sadly most of them are not around. I do have a few mythology books on my shelf though. I would say probably 10, which is a really small number in the grand scheme of my personal library. Anyway, I'll be reading that this week. I'm looking forward to that. I am not afraid of not being able to put down the book. Josh said that it would probably suck me in, and I probably wouldn't be able to put down the book. But I don't really have that problem because I have 2 small children, so I have to be able to put things down like that. And also, I can knit and read at the same time, especially with hardcover books. That's way easier than trying to do it with paperbacks. The only thing easier is with an e-reader, but I like having the actual book, the actual weight of the book. E-readers are too light. Maybe if they made e-readers much heavier, I would like them better. I don't know. I've been talking for a really long time, so let's get on to the 3 things. I told you we went to the crepe place. It's my favorite restaurant. So this week and next week, I'm going to tell you my 3 favorite crepes in each category. They have savory crepes and sweet crepes. And I really want a sweet crepe today, so that's what I'm going to tell you about. These are my 3 favorites. If you're ever in the northern Kentucky / Cincinnati area, look up It's Just Crepes. They have a location in downtown Cincinnati, I think, and they have a location in northern Kentucky, which is the one we go to because it is a 3-minute drive. We would walk there, but you have to cross I-75, which is the freeway. And I just don't feel comfortable walking the children across there if I don't have to. I would walk it by myself, though. I don't mind walking that. Just the children were right over it. Freaks me out. So, number 1 is not in order of preference, just, what popped into my brain first. The Paradise, which is what I had on Mother's Day. It is coconut, sliced almonds, and Nutella, and it's so good. Number 2 is the chocolate-covered strawberries, which is Nutella and sliced strawberries. Also amazing. That is what Gabriel always orders. He and Mara split a chocolate-covered strawberry every time we go because that's his favorite, and as soon as we walk in, he walks up to the counter and orders a chocolate-covered strawberry cut in half. Number 3 is s'mores. It's Nutella, graham cracker crumbles, and marshmallow cream. Next time we go, I'm probably going to get that. That sounds really good. Maybe we can go out for crepes for dinner later this week and get dessert. We'll see. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and show notes will happen today. I'm not letting it go like I did a couple weeks ago. It's happening. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye. Can you say Happy Mother's Day?
Hi.
Gabriel, say Happy Mother's Day.
Hi, Mother's Day.
That's very nice.